No one here is a stranger to the amount of injuries the MLB has had so far early in the season. There have been some major injuries included in this, and it made me think about how some of the teams afflicted are able to survive the injuries while others just completely collapse. The Yankees are still succeeding without Garrett Cole, the Dodgers are winning without a full pitching staff, and the Red Sox are staying afloat without Trevor Story and Lucas Giolito. But for this video, I wanted to focus on the teams that have not been so fortunate. The teams that have seemingly fallen completely apart after losing a key guy or even a few. So today I'm bringing you my list of the 5 teams that have collapsed the hardest due to injuries. Keep in mind, guys can come back or these teams can pick up the play. But for the list's sake, the fact remains is that the injury bug has hit them awfully hard early on and the records show it. It is also not about the number of injuries, it's more or less about how they are performing despite key injuries. Starting off this list at number 5, I have the Cincinnati Reds. After securing an 82-80 record and barely missing the playoffs last year, they seem destined to make the climb and improve this year. Right now they are in 4th place in the NL Central with a record of 17-24. So what happened? To put it into perspective, they had the 9th most runs scored in baseball last year, but as of now they've regressed to the 15th spot. A lot of guys are not performing to the level they should be, and a huge factor is not having Matt McClain around, who had an awesome rookie year. Last year he hit .290 with 16 home runs and was one of the most consistent players on that offense. But unfortunately he had to get surgery on his shoulder right before the season started, and he has not played since. He should be back this season, but not having his bat hurts. They have arguably one of the best bats in TJ Friedl missing a lot of time, as well as Christian Encarnacion Strand, who hasn't been fully healthy. Friedl, after coming back, just suffered a thumb contusion and is on the 10-day IL. CES is on the 10-day IL as well and will miss 4 to 6 weeks after it was revealed he had a fracture in his right wrist. The pitching staff was terrible last year, but has definitely improved this year. But of course they still have injuries. Ian Jabot is on the 60-day IL after surgery on May 9th, but Brandon Williamson and Alex Young, who are both in the 60-day IL, are making rehab assignments soon, and they should get some reinforcements. 17-24 isn't too bad for how injured they've been, so they land at 5 for me. At the 4 spot, I have the San Francisco Giants. Last year they finished 79-83 and were expected to improve this year from their active offseason. Right now they are 19-24, and a lot of the new sign guys and others have gotten bit by the injury bug. Jung-Hoo Lee just dislocated his shoulder and will miss some time. Jorge Soler should be back soon, but he's on the 10-day IL for his shoulder, and Blake Snell's on the 15-day IL and shouldn't be too far out. To be completely fair, they rushed Blake Snell back after signing late, and the injury is definitely a result of that. They also got Robbie Ray in a trade while he was recovering from Tommy John, and he's throwing again and should be back in late July. Currently, besides the guys I've named, they have Tom Murphy, Alex Cobb, Nick Ahmed, Austin Slater, and Michael Conforto all in the injured list. The bright side of this is all these guys should be returning later in May. The Giants have not fallen too hard based on expectations, but you probably would see a much better record than what they have now if they were just healthy. They have a good team with good players. I expect them to bounce back if they could get healthy. The list gets a lot more real from here on out. The Angels land at number 3 for it. While they were a candidate for the top spot, the expectations they had were much lower for them than the 1 and 2. Right now the Angels lineup is pretty much a hub for second chance players like Cole Tucker, Kevin Pillar, and Miguel Sano. They would not have been in this spot if they actually traded Ohtani and then did not make some bad trades last deadline, as the roster depth shows that. The Angels have 5 pitchers on the 60-day injured list at the moment, and not only that, they have a lot of position players set to miss time. Luis Rengifo is sick and should be back soon, so I guess not an injury, although he is on the IL. Brandon Drury is on the 10-day IL with a hamstring injury, and the biggest hits are Mike Trout and Anthony Rendon. Rendon has a partial tear of his hamstring and is on the 60-day IL, and Mike Trout just got surgery on his left knee and he has no timeline of return. You can't question the Angels would be better than 15-27 if they had all these guys healthy. It is just unfortunate, but also no one really had them down as a playoff team. The Marlins were a playoff team last year. They now have the worst record at baseball at 11-32. They are at the 2 spot because they at least had high expectations, but those came crashing down almost immediately. Before the season even started, they lost 2 top-of-the-line rotation arms just to Tommy John surgery. Yuri Perez and Sandy Alcantara unfortunately were lost for the season. You could see the results of this as they have the highest team ERA in baseball with a 5.23. Besides that, they have suffered injuries to Tim Anderson and Avisail Garcia, among others. JT Chargo is on the 60-day IL, and so is Josh Simpson, as he needs Tommy John. Edward Cabrera also left his last start early and is set to miss some time. The team has had a lot go wrong, and it is just completely falling apart. And they already acknowledged this because they traded away Luis Arraez to the Padres. If you told me everything that happened with the Marlins this year before the season, I probably wouldn't have believed you. If I did believe you, I would have ranked them at 1, but that honor belongs to an American League team. Without question, the number 1 spot belongs to the Houston Astros. Last year they went 19-72, won the division, and made it to the ALCS for the 7th season in a row. The weight of that factors into my decision for where I have them. The Marlins could have easily made it, but the 7 ALCSs in a row, that team was supposed to win. They are currently 16-25 and in second to last place in the AL West. I hear a lot of chatter about the Astros are falling off and players are declining, but maybe that could be true, but the real answer is they have one of the most injured pitching staffs I have ever seen. They currently have the 3rd highest team ERA in baseball at the 4.89. They've had some injuries to Justin Verlander and Framber Valdez early on, but they're back now. But here are the pitchers that are currently injured and not available. Kendall Graveman, Bennett Sousa, Oliver Ortega, Forrest Whitley, Lance McCullers, Penn Murphy, Luis Garcia, JP France, and Jose Urquidy. Some of these guys will come back, but some are lost for the year. It is really ridiculous how injury-riddled this team is. They also have Chas McCormick on the 10-day IL, but he should be back soon. It is obviously early on, but as long as some of the pitchers start to come back and get healthy, I could see them evening out their record a little bit. But early on with their expectations and the record they have, I have no choice but to put them at number 1. This is the list I have for the teams that have collapsed the hardest due to injuries. Obviously, as I said before, teams could bounce back, get healthy, start winning games, but I'm basing it off the record and where they are right now. But go ahead and comment a team that you think should be on the list or who you think might have been on number 1. If I got anything wrong, whatever. I'd love to hear it, talk with you about it in the comments, so go ahead, drop that below. Anyways, I plan to make more videos like this in the coming future. I already have one planned where it's pretty much the opposite of this. It's going to be what teams have excelled based on all the injuries. That should be dropping sometime tomorrow or within the next couple days, so look out for that. Thank you guys for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. I'll see you guys later.